Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. I'm gonna do the market close update, but spoiler alert, the price hasn't moved that much since the morning. So we are just gonna look into the most recent developments in the order book, the 4-hour time frame, and see what could come next for the rest of the week. If you missed it earlier, I had a live TA with Patrick from a channel called Gallant Crypto. If you cannot find his YouTube channel, that's because the channel got banned by YouTube. On Twitter, you can find him by Gallant Crypto YT. I really liked his channel and I'm hoping that he's gonna get it back. We'll see what we can do together to help him get him back on track. And an article that's calling my attention is this one. Bitcoin analysts predicts 180 to 250 price top in 2025, which is more realistic. I don't know, you tell me in the comments, but in here there is a very interesting table with different forecasts. Interestingly, nothing goes below 150k. We got a few familiar names and pretty much all of them work in financial institutions, corporate, and many of them are basing their forecasts on the ETF flows, the M2 liquidity index, the breakout, growing institutional adoption, and a lot of things. And if you ask me, my opinion is that there is no exception. All the people in this list, their agenda is to get people interested in buying Bitcoin, to either make money from dumping Bitcoin later on retail, or two, from making money from fees of trading or buying into those ETFs. None of them care about you and are sharing these forecasts so you get rich. And some people might be thinking, well, that's pretty obvious. But funnily enough, many people as well are watching the video and are thinking, oh, they are so nice to share those forecasts with me. What a nice group of people that they want me to get rich. Very clear, they don't. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin status, although today is the third time we look at it and it's really not changing that much. I made a few changes in the morning thanks to the weekly close, so if you want to know why we changed those things, watch the video from the morning. It's not very long, so you should be able to understand why we added some additional text. In terms of CME gap, we got one and got filled immediately. We also cover it in the morning too. In the 4-hour time frame, there has been one development which is pretty interesting. Remember that we were calling this a bear flag because that is what it looks like, at least up until we got into 104,800 and we couldn't hold that support. Right after that, from the top of the flag, we broke down and we went straight from the previous pivot. Something to note is that as a consequence of that, we have put a new low, right? We have now 103.657 versus $100 higher in the previous pivot. So what does that mean? Well, that means that that is a breakdown of the bear flag. So by just looking at the price like this, I will say, well, that is a bear flag that is breaking down. It is going to retest possibly, and if it cannot reclaim 105, 104.9, it's going to continue. And if it manages to get to an extension of 1, which means to repeat this move, but from the top into the bottom, it can hit 100k. At 100k, we have this liquidity pulse that we've been monitoring each and every day, highlighting that is a combination of very high leverage, at least the highest leverage liquidity pulse that we can see in this range. And if we bring the 10x, yes, then that brings back the 113. But to get there, we need to move starting with 7.5k from where we are. Whereas if we want to go to the 100k, that is just a move at the moment of 4.5. That is not sufficient to guarantee to get into 100k, but we already have the breakdown. Why don't we just monitor that and see if it can happen? We'll look into the order book to see how the bulls are defending those levels, and if they have placed enough limit orders to defend the price, that could be something. I looked during the day into that, but there was not much of defending really the level. Interesting, because general markets are not looking that bad today in the market open. We'll look into that too. From the point of view of RSI, the breakdown from the falling wedge that we were looking to form over the weekend, and we were saying, well, hopefully we get the breakout in the beginning of the week. Well, we got that breakout, but now we have a top information in here with a breakdown of the most bullish support with a retest that currently could be about to get confirmed as the break. breakdown. This is just the first line of defense. It's nothing that cannot get reclaimed and carry on to the upside, but it is one initial bullet that we are taking on the 4-hour noted. I will say the moment we are putting a candle close 4 hour below the lows of 103.477, that is clearly a full confirmation that the bear flag is going to continue to the downside. If you are waiting to enter in a short in here, it's a terrible time. A bear flag, if you are seeing it and you have conviction that it's going to break down, you start entering with a short from the top of the bear flag, and if it exits from the top, you close the deal. And if it bounces from support and you feel that this is holding with strength, you also close the deal because it could carry on pushing higher in the bear flag. If it breaks down, you hold and see if the breakdown is going to carry on. Retail enters in this area, and then all the bid comes in, it turns into a liquidity hunt, and then it pumps, and then they get wrecked with the bear flag. Classic. On the daily, things are still not looking great for the bulls. We can see that so far for the day, we are being held by this now 106K, which is the top of the range. We are trying to reclaim that, but it seems more likely at the moment with the look of this red engulfing candle, which can change, is an intra-candle price action. It looks like it can go to the point of control, just judging by past performance and by the forecasts of volume profile trading. MACD, you can see that we were forming a light pink in here, meaning that the momentum was slowing down to the downside, but hey, we got a new histogram, larger and dark red once again. That means that we are still not out of the woods in terms of turning the momentum into bearish on the daily. And the weekly, after the confirmation candle that we got on Sunday, we've been during the day fooling around with potentially re-enter the previous range. On the weekly, the middle ground is here at 93.7, whereas on the daily, the point of control is at 97. So the 97, by going into the point of control, well, that can push the weekly also to enter this area. And of course, the weekly then is going to have its own forecast and agenda to go towards the bull market support band. That my speculation is that it could meet it at 97.5 in confluence with where is the point of control. Just trying to make some stories. This is not the forecast. It's a very boring price action Monday, so please don't get me wrong. This is just the due diligence analysis and not so much luck. I found the answer. We are going there because I don't do forecasts really, and I don't need them to trade. It is the beginner that needs the certainty, the one option, so he can just click buy or sell. But as a trader, that doesn't exist. I really like the live stream today, and I think Patrick showed once again that great traders do not marry any particular thesis. He just literally placing different trades at areas he likes, and then he goes to sleeps and checks a few days after. I really like his trading style. It does not necessarily go with my personality. I really like studying so much and learning so many tools. That makes it fun for me, but you know, everybody has a different personality. And a reminder that we have the bearish cross on the stochastic RSI that now is battling with the bullish cross from the MACD that we just have a few weeks ago. On the CPR territory, tonight we are trying to go back into those newly formed pivots that we put on the 1st of June. Remember that the first support is at 94.7 for this month, and the first resistance is at 113. That doesn't sound very new really, but that's what the CPR model is saying. And the full range of the month is around $57,000, from the lowest level of support being at 76K and the highest level of resistance at 132,000. Let's look at the order book. We can see that we have some support in here at 101 and 2 and 3 with just 30 something million, and resistance is over 40 million from 109 to 113. Resistance right above the price is not that big really. We have 15, 23, indicating that it shouldn't be that difficult really to go higher, but fire charts doesn't really show that in a lot of detail unless I put it back down into the daily. So I'm gonna go with Market Monkey Terminal and see where are those orders. In average, we have that resistance at 106 and 3 levels of support in there. Looking at trading light, let's look into massive detail, and it's been pretty much a ping pong game. You can see in here how they flip 106 into 103, and then they put the resistance at 105.6. But you know, if that doesn't hold and we carry on just sideways, this is pretty much what we're gonna be seeing. There are always some sneaky levels appearing every now and then that call my attention. For example, in here we have this new level at 98 to 97. Why are they placing that in the last few minutes? Who knows? Let's look at the delta of the liquidations. That was 700k, now it's just half of that, 362. Still, I would say enough to keep pushing a little bit higher to liquidate those shorts that are at very short proximity of the price. And the defense in here, in my opinion, has kind of a trend to weaken. We started with around 0.6, we peaked at 0.17 at the price of 103, and now that we came to the same level, I can see that that bidding is not getting that high. It peaked at 111 instead of 117. Not half, but you can see that there's some erosion there going on the bidding to defend the level. In terms of fair value gaps, nothing really happened today. We had the same usuals at the high levels in here. Remember, I had a target for this breakout to get all the way there. I kind of stopped today talking about it because of the breakdown, but as I said, if we don't take the lows of 103.5, there is still a chance that we go to the upside in here. It's just that by seeing that bidding getting less interested and by seeing the breakdown of the 4 hour, I'm starting to feel like going to 100 is becoming more possible. And as I said in the beginning of the video, it's very interesting that general markets have had a decent day today, actually. It is in the green. We are starting the week in the green after being consolidating in here in the shape of a bull flag. And we are right below the weekly resistance on Nasdaq and very close as well on the S&P for that potential breakout bullish weekly time frame RSI. It is a big thing if it happens, but all eyes in case there is a rejection. So let's try to do a summary of what's going on today and what are my views in terms of what could be coming next. Zooming out a little bit in here, this is not necessarily looking great for upside. We really need the price action to continue with this breakout that we have from the falling wedge. So far we are defending, so that's why I'm not calling a red warning for the breakout. We just had one bullet and there's been a little bit of lack of interest in bidding on the 4 hour, but all of those things are things that can be reverted. They are bad, but they are not impossible to revert. What I'm looking for the bearish case is to complete a shape of a head and shoulder in here. If you pay attention, when I say taking this low of 103, you're basically forming a right shoulder, and the target should be pretty decent relative to the previous targets that we were using with the double tops in this area, because now neckline is something like this, and the high now start becoming more significant, right? That's how you can get into the point of control. So this pattern that is forming at the moment, depending on how it develops, it can actually confirm or discard a large move to downside to the point of control, or if holding decently and carrying on the way up of the RSI, it can also confirm a bullish breakout. And the key are precisely that. Break below 103, form the head and shoulder, and we can talk about point of control bearish downside. Take the highs of 106, 107 that we've been talking all over the weekend, and we can take the full highs with a potential all-time high. I hope that is a good wrap up. I try to do a wrap up, but remember, I don't trade just with the summary. I always look at the market, the bid, the ask, and all these indicators before entering or exiting on anything, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of sentiment and a better perspective of all this confusing price action at the moment. Guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin or any of the coins in this list using $500 for free, you can use my position airdrop. I'm currently hosting a campaign on Bybit that offers precisely that. The link is in the description. Just search for Bybit right there and open the link, click register to claim, and make sure that you make profits because you get to keep them. But if you want to stay away from KYC, you can open a new account on Bluffing and take advantage of the win up to $10,000 campaign that depends on deposit and trading volume. Bluffing is a non-KYC exchange, so that means that in just 30 seconds you can deposit, open the account, trade, leverage, trade all coins anywhere you are. This campaign ends on the 10th of June and you can find the link again in the description. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.